Hi Aries, and welcome to your December the 1st to the 15th general reading. So I'm going to do it in 2 week spurts because there's so much change going on in the month of December. We're about to hit this grand conjunction in Aquarius, and I think every single astrologer, it's like we're all betting our future on this potential transit. So it's actually really quite a big deal. So I'm going to do it in fortnightly. The way to work out how it's going to affect you is to see where Aquarius sits in the cusp of your birth chart, so where it's transiting, and then you'll understand what particular area that you're going to have access to this very, very potentially liberating energy. Okay, the link below is to my website if you do want a private reading, but it's not that complicated to work out where it's going to be for you. In the natural zodiac, it'll be the 11th house, which is the house of friendship. It's the house of associations. But just get your birth chart and just look at where the transit's going to happen, because that's where all your energy needs to go to. So you pulled two Lenormand cards. So the first card that you've got is this, can you see it? It's actually quite a hard card to explain, so you're going to have to bear with me. In the ancient esoteric arts, when a person was sleeping, an awful lot of healing was taking place. It's a little bit like, you know, the death card and the judgment card. So these two cards work together, sort of life then rebirth. This is going through some sort of rebirth, but you might be feeling a little bit like this. Sorry, I am laughing, Aries, by the way, because it can feel maybe sort of exhausted. But what's happening is there's this sort of God, and what he's doing is saging and putting this healing balm on you, Aries. Okay, absolutely beautiful card, by the way. It's quite, when it shows up in my personal readings, like for myself, I get really, really excited that something very, very deep is going on. Okay, a sort of soul retrieval, sort of soul renewal. So very, very exciting, and that is where we're headed to. I'm not saying it's going to be straightforward and all sweetness and light, Aries, but there's a lot of new energy coming up. You then get the anchor, which is fantastic. The anchor tends to be about, quite often it's about housing, but it's just about what makes you feel secure within your own being. For most people, that is, you know, housing, having enough resources, friendships, relationships, that sort of thing. But what's so wonderful about these cards is having them together in a strange way, because when you're anchored is when this sort of retrieval can happen. It's almost like a soul retrieval. I told you it's very, very hard to explain this card, but some people will be watching and they'll be going, I know exactly what that card means. I do get an awful lot of happiness when I see that card appearing, because there's something going on that's way deeper than what we think is going on. Okay, so I'm going to throw the traditional card, the traditional spread, but I'm not doing what lies behind you, because most people's readings are taking 20 minutes to half an hour, and I'm going to do it twice this month. So managing energy, because I keep getting that card as well. So one more split of the deck. So what's going on for Aries? Please guide them, lead them. So what you want is a Three of Swords, which means you want this situation to end. Now bear with me to find out. The gift is a Chariot. So the Chariot's a great card, very, very much about moving forward. It is the Cancer card. So even though it's about moving forward, it can represent, so very much the anchor. So it can be about home and family. The challenge is the Star card. Four of Cups in your relationships, which is maybe what the Three of Swords is about. The Four of Cups is about inertia. It's not a bad card, by the way, but there's something being offered, but there's not much emotional energy. And maybe you haven't got the energy because you're in that Egyptian healing process where there's something going on underneath the scenes, and you'll have your revival. Let's find out. Money and work, you get the Hermit card. Soul position, the Two of Swords. So yeah. So this is definitely your energy being a little bit, I don't know if subdued is the right word. Sort of quite inward. But then the gift is a Chariot. And the outcome is a Magician. So you're not going to stay that way, guys. The Magician is about sort of, this is about accessing divine power. And it's accessing it in all the aces. So very, very much the Aries card. Very, very much this desire to manifest a new vision. Now, I think most people are getting outcomes like this because by the time I do the next reading, we'll literally just be about a week away from this grand conjunction. So it'd be really, really good to find out where the doors are opening for you and where you can apply this energy to. That's exactly what I'd be doing because I know where mine is and I know what I'm going for. And I'm just going to not bother in those other areas and just, you know, try to go for the breakthroughs. So I don't know, but that's what the Magician is. It's about intention. Intention is everything. Intention, desire, wanting to make things happen. So what you want is a Three of Swords. So I don't know, some of you have been feeling, so this is for the first 2 weeks of December. The Three of Swords can be feeling a little bit separate. You might be dealing with a little bit of heartache, you know, loss. Sometimes the Three of Swords is, it's a swords card. So it's a mental process, but it's pierced your heart. So it's a little bit of a complicated card here, but whatever it is, you want this Three of Swords to pass. Maybe you've not been feeling that fantastic with that Egyptian card because it doesn't always show up that way. But I have seen it, that it's almost the person just needs to stop and allow this very, very deep process to take place. Anyhow, what's helping heal the Three of Swords, which could be a past trauma that's still living in the heart? I mean, really what needs to happen is we need to take these Three Swords out, Aries, because they tend to be, it can be about memory that's repeating itself, and on and on and on we go around the same cycle, okay? Now, the gift of the Chariot, what's the Chariot about is the gift. Because this is, the Chariot is a vehicle, and it does propel your life forward, but it's also, because it's the Cancer card, it's also about like the anchor. It's about home. It's about people who nourish you, and maybe that's what's helping take these Three Swords out. Okay, that's, what's the Chariot with, please, as the gift? Because the gift is a really important card, because again, it gives you access to what's going right for you. You get the Hangman. This is quite an interesting reading for you, Aries. It's like everything feels at a pause. But it's not a... Well, it doesn't have to be a bad pause. If we think it's a bad pause, it is a bad pause. If we go with the process, it's not. It's about rest. It's about regeneration. It's very much about that card. It's about soul retrieval, that sort of thing. It's just like in the UK, we're back in lockdown. So most people are in this energy. And how we approach it in our minds, the Three of Swords, is what it will be to us. Now, the Chariot can be about having a really good anchor, so feeling okay where you are. And the Hangman is the gift, is about surrendering control. It's like, I'm just not in charge of this process, so I might as well flow with it. So there might be a little bit of a shift of the state of mind that you need to work at. It's been an incredible year. I want to say incredible challenge, but it's been different for everyone. The challenge is the Star card. So the Star card can be Aquarius energy, or it can be maybe a little bit of a loss of faith, especially if any of you are feeling that, you know, that card that I showed you, which I absolutely love this card. But sometimes when we're in this position, yeah, see it? We lose faith that it's only going to be a cycle. And underneath it all, our energy's coming back. Yeah, do you understand? It's all happening underneath the surface and behind the scenes. So I wonder if that's what the Star card means as a challenge. It can be about openness, because the Star card is transparent. Look, she's naked. She's sharing her knowledge with the world. So maybe there's a little bit of a challenge in sharing yourself. Okay, very, very common, by the way. Sort of bringing your skills and that into the world. So that's maybe what it is. Or maybe some Aries are losing a little bit of hope that their energy and their motivation is going to come back. I think as well, I know your ruler's gone direct, but it's still squaring Saturn and Pluto, and that won't change. I'm hoping it'll be totally different by January, but there's still a lot of restrictions. Some of you might be losing faith. Now, the Four of Cups is in your relationships. Again, there's something being offered to you, but this is a feeling that you're lacking the emotional oomph, the emotional drive, the emotional passion to stand up and claim this card. So why is Aries feeling this way? One card. Okay, you get the Knight of Cups. So this is the same card. Look, there's a cup. There's a cup coming your way. It might not be a personal relationship. It might be a family person because of the Cancer card. You might be dealing with a Cancerian. But Aries, you're not feeling, your energy doesn't seem that with it. And I think some of you might be dealing with, maybe there's a little bit of not feeling your normal dynamic self. So your energy might be quite down. The Hermit is in money and work. So some of you are working alone, but the Hermit is the guide. Yeah. The only energy that gets access to the deepest parts of the psyche is the Hermit, by the way. This is the energy that can go on journeys, and it can take other people on these journeys. So some of you might be doing an awful lot of inner work, by the way. I just think everyone is. And it's wonderful because that's what's going to dictate the amount of freedom and breakthroughs you can have with the astrology. I guarantee you it is, Aries. And even if it feels suffocating, even if it feels like I've had enough of this, it's the last big opportunity that we have to shred what needs to be shred. But the Hermit goes very, very, very deep. So he's got the ability to go to the Hermit could be like the psychotherapist, because he's got the ability to go very, very deep and do very, very deep transformative work. So some of you might be a guide. I mean, the Hermit's a guide, essentially. So some of you might have done, this might be guiding others, but there's a little bit of a fear around bringing your skills forward, being seen, okay? Not for all of you. I don't think I've ever really seen your energy. It's such a, it's almost like, because the Two of Swords at a soul level, it's almost like there's a stop. Yeah? There's this sort of energy of just stop and allow this process to move through you. Because look at the outcome. So this is you back in your energy, back in your sort of, you know, your Aries energy, ready to push forward, and it's with the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is a very, very fast moving knight, very dynamic energy that goes forward to make things happen, particularly around the fire elements. The fire element's very dynamic, very transformative, and very, very yang. So this is almost like a complete rebirth of your energy. So there's almost a sort of, I think for some of you, when the Star card is a challenge, it might be a little bit, is this ever going to change? You know, sometimes when we're in a process, it's not the actual process. It's the feeling of, I'm not going to come out the opposite side of it. And that's what the greatest challenge can be. For some of you, it's just sort of, there's a lack of belief in yourself. For some of you, a lack of belief that you can bring your unique gifts into the world, which is what the Star card in Aquarius is all about. It's about individuation, separating from the pack and becoming a very, very unique identity, okay? That's what Aquarius stands for, and that's why it's really important to know where it's happening in your birth chart, even a little bit. Yeah, if you go to astro.com, you can get a free birth chart, and then you just look for the Aquarius sign and you go, so it's happening in my house of friendships, it's happening in my house of work. So you know there's going to be a massive individuation and freedom around that area. For some, it's the home. There's 12 houses, and you can even look at your solar return and you work out how it's happening, and then you've got a double picture. But this is the renewal of your energy, and off I go. Okay, but it definitely looks like Aquarius, Aries. It's like there's a complete stop here. Yeah, because of the anchor. And because of the Chariot as the gift, I'm hoping everyone watching has enough holding to allow them to have this rest and then the rebirth. Because sometimes when we're in this space, but there's too many survival issues going on, that's when it gets a really, really stressful set of circumstances. But if not, all your cards are pointing to stop. I'd like almost the Star card to come here as a gift. And when the Star card is a gift, it's about grace. It's knowing that this sort of quiet cycle will end and you'll have the retrieval that you need. That your energy will come back. That whatever dynamics are going on, it's very unlike Aries, to see you without that emotional oomph. Like being offered this cup, but just sort of, you're just staring at it. And it's almost because there's something way, 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 way deeper going on. And because of that card showing up, it almost seems to me that there's they call it a soul retrieval. So you're in this sort of space of deep, deep rest. But underneath the scenes, sorry, I'm getting all, underneath the scenes, all this energy has been built up from within, yeah? And eventually that energy that's built up from within is the Magician and the Knight of Wands. It's just going to break through into new territory. Very, very interesting. You're my first fire sign. I would say everyone's readings are sort of heading to this sort of energy. I think you're the sign that got the reading that's mostly at a stop. And if any of you are having health issues, try and bring the star card to the gift. And when it's the gift, that you know that your energy will come back and it'll be renewed again. Because that's what the star card is. Because as she gives her energy, she's automatically replenished. Now, I wasn't going to do any readings today. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go and do Aries reading. No idea why. Because I knew as I put my energy out, I would have the energy coming back to me. So, that's one message for you, but it's also grace, and everything happens in grace. It's like we're our energy's really low, and one day we wake up and our energy's back again. And it's trusting that it's all happening perfectly, which has been my that's been my affirmation all week. Everything's happening perfectly, even if it doesn't feel like it, Aries. Okay, I hope whoever this reading's for, if it's not for you guys, you don't have to get into that mad hate thing. Just send good vibes to other people. That's what creates the future that you want. Yeah, love and kindness. Anyhow, Aries, links below, email below. Get your chart done, even if it's free. Work out where this conjunction is going on. We've only got a year, yeah? And for 3 months of that year, it's not, the planets aren't even going to be working. So we've got 5 months, a break, then a few more months. And you need to try and work out where this breakthrough is happening for you. So much love, guys. Bye.